We are anonymous, the watchers and heralds of truth in the shadows of war. Tonight, we expose a chilling battlefield, not on foreign soil, but right here, in the streets of Los Angeles. It began with a major street gang shakedown. Federal authorities swept in and rounded up 13 members, or associates of one of the most violent and dominant street gangs in the harbor area of San Pedro. The local authorities in Los Angeles County even declared a state of emergency over the surge in federal immigration raids, enabling local officials to provide assistance to families, workers, and small businesses impacted by these operations. Meanwhile, the city woke to the sound of war. In the pre-dawn hours, units from the FBI, DEA, ICE, and local law enforcement stormed cartel hideouts across San Pedro Monterey Park and downtown Los Angeles. Fentanyl weapons and forged IDs flooded out of basements and warehouses as cartel leaders were dragged into custody. The operation code, named Operation Convergence, a 3-year investigation, exploded into one of California's largest anti-cartel crackdowns, turning Los Angeles into a federal war zone before sunrise. Early Tuesday morning, agents descended across San Pedro. Doors were breached in the harbor district. Side streets in Monterey Park flooded with officers, and entire intersections downtown locked down. By 6 a.m., dozens of suspects were in custody, their criminal empire exposed in real time. Authorities declared that one of the most violent street gangs had been largely put out of business. The targets were no longer hidden. 13 alleged affiliates of the Mexican mafia and 9 Chinese cartel operatives were arrested in a coordinated sweep that hit residential blocks, nightclubs, and commercial warehouses simultaneously. Command centers across Los Angeles blazed with radio chatter and drone feeds. Federal teams, including DEA, FBI, LAPD, and ICE Homeland Security, worked in absolute unison, relying on months of wiretaps, surveillance, and cross-border intelligence. The mission was clear: dismantle a pipeline that had funneled narcotics and weapons into Southern California under layers of money laundering and forged ID schemes. By the time the last suspect was hauled out, the seizure tally was staggering. Over $30 million in narcotics, weapons caches, and forged identification documents. What investigators uncovered was no mere gang cell. It was a full-scale alliance between 2 criminal empires: the Mexican Mafia's San Pedro network and Chinese syndicates, using Los Angeles as a laundering base. Hidden behind nightclubs, spas, and driving schools, their operation had quietly burrowed into the city's commercial veins. For decades, the gang known as Rancho San Pedro, a 500-member affiliate of the Mexican Mafia, had dominated the harbor area. Their rule was built on extortion, fentanyl sales, and control of the port's illicit trade routes. Money flowed upward to imprisoned cartel leaders. Violence flowed downward to anyone who resisted. Today marks an important day, severing the head of the Hydra for one of the most violent street gangs terrorizing San Pedro for years. 13 members were indicted and arrested. 14 were charged. Among them were alleged leaders Jose Vicente Castro and Ramon Martinez, who managed street operations directly under mafia authority, coordinating shipments and killings via encrypted prison contacts. During the raid, agents seized 9 firearms, ghost gun kits, and stacks of fentanyl packaged for sale. In a binder marked with cartel insignia, handwritten ledgers detailed monthly tax payments from every dealer, laundered through shell accounts tied to inmates inside California prisons. But the operation didn't stop there. 10 miles away in Monterey Park, at exactly 7:15 a.m., on July the 29th, 2025, ICE agents surrounded a local supermarket parking lot. Unmarked vehicles boxed in a silver sedan. Witnesses froze. The man dragged out was a dual national ringleader, not simply a smuggler, but a key link in a cartel pipeline worth over $30 million. On his seized phone were financial logs, encrypted chats, and photographs linking multiple Chinese nationals to both the Sinaloa cartel and the Jalisco New Generation cartel. This was the proof investigators had chased for years. It exposed a hidden partnership between two of the world's most powerful criminal networks operating inside Los Angeles County. Mexican cartels had long relied on Chinese financial networks to move their drug profits. The syndicates supplied logistics, shell companies, ghost employees, and false IDs to help obscure illicit cash. Cartels supplied the product meth cocaine and fentanyl. Together, they built a machine designed to exploit both sides of the border, hiding behind legitimate businesses. Homeland Security officials say intelligence reveals Mexican cartels are now targeting immigration and Border Patrol agents with violence. The partnership stretched far beyond California. Federal agents traced connected operations to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where 2 massage parlors doubled as cash laundromats, and to New York, where a fraudulent driving school minted thousands of fake licenses for undocumented clients. The investigation revealed an infrastructure reaching across states, built on corruption, exploitation, and the promise of anonymity. As dawn turned to daylight, the scale of Operation Convergence came into focus. More than 200 federal and local agents took part. Hundreds of warrants were executed, multiple networks exposed in a single morning. The air in San Pedro smelled of burnt rubber and tear gas. Monterey Park residents watched from their windows as armored vans rolled out. What began as scattered investigations had converged into a single coordinated strike, a federal declaration that the days of hidden empires inside Los Angeles were over. On evidence tables inside the downtown field office, weapons, narcotics, fake IDs, bundles of cash, and photographs of those arrested told the same story. A city infiltrated by 2 global powers of crime, now ripped apart by the agencies they thought they could outrun. By the afternoon, inventory logs revealed 133 firearms, some converted to full automatic, assault rifles fitted with suppressors, handguns modified with extended magazines, and armor-piercing rounds capable of punching through police-grade vests, tactical helmets, ballistic shields, and optics used by SWAT teams lay beside the contraband. These criminals weren't playing amateur. They were arming themselves to mirror the very forces hunting them. The drug haul was massive. 3 tons of methamphetamine, cocaine, and fentanyl seized from multiple sites across Los Angeles County. The most alarming discovery: 9 clandestine labs hidden in plain sight, behind facades like mechanic shops, detergent plants, and tire warehouses. Inside industrial mixers, chemical drums, tablet presses churning out narcotics, disguised as legitimate goods. Among the piles, 90,000 counterfeit pills pressed to look like Adderall, Percocet, and Xanax, each tablet potent enough to kill with a single dose. DEA chemists later confirmed much of the fentanyl was industrial grade, imported from overseas chemical suppliers with connections in Wuhan and Sinaloa. These pills were brightly colored and perfectly stamped, indistinguishable from real medicine. Officials said they were designed for distribution in local schools, small pharmacies, and online resale markets. Poison marketed as pain relief. On top of that, ghost gun kits and firearm components sold without serial numbers were stacked beside counterfeit IDs. Some fake licenses traced back to DMV employees who issued them under cartel instruction. The result, a seamless anonymity network, traffickers with clean records, vehicles registered under false names, and weapons impossible to trace. Investigators estimated the combined trade in drugs, weapons, and fake identities generated tens of millions of dollars every month. One agent compared it to a shadow economy running parallel to the real one. Briefings revealed intelligence that rattled Washington. Agents intercepted messages offering bounties on federal officers, $2,000 for gathering personal information, $10,000 for assaults, and up to $50,000 for assassinations of high-ranking officials. Homeland Security labeled it a cartel insurgency, a campaign of intimidation meant to slow enforcement through fear. In response, the Department of Justice activated Project Sentinel West, a joint initiative uniting ICE-DIA cyber units, FBI, and LAPD intelligence divisions. Their task: trace every shell company, encrypted wire transfer and offshore account linked to the Mexican and Chinese networks uncovered in the raids. Within weeks, the team began dismantling dozens of ghost corporations and freezing assets routed through Singapore, Hong Kong, and Guadalajara. Agents used digital forensics to map money trails previously thought untouchable. It marked the first time local police and federal cyber teams operated under one unified command. Officials described the effort as more than a criminal prosecution. It was a defensive war for national security. Cartels were no longer just smuggling contraband. They were embedding themselves within financial systems, technology firms, and law enforcement itself. Each raid, each seizure, each arrest was part of a broader attempt to defend the country from an evolving enemy. These organizations adapt like any modern enterprise. One Homeland Security officer said they hire hackers, buy surveillance drones, and pay insiders. This is no longer about drugs. It's about sovereignty. One practical function of the LA County Emergency Declaration is that it enabled local officials to provide rent relief to people who fell behind because of the immigration raids. As these operations continue, many immigrants simply stop going to work. They stay home. The ripple effects of wartime raids reach deep into communities. As the immediate chaos faded, Los Angeles woke to a new kind of silence. In San Pedro, the same alleys once ruled by the Rancho Gang were empty. In Monterey Park, boarded storefronts replaced neon-lit parlors. In Boyle Heights, families cautiously stepped outside after weeks of avoiding the night streets. The neighborhoods that had lived under a cartel shadow for years now faced a long process of recovery. Federal press briefings confirmed ongoing investigations into ghost ID rings and corrupted DMV staff. Some of the fraudulent licenses traced back to overseas launderers in Shenzhen and Guadalajara. Companies posing as legitimate importers were flagged by international partners. For the first time, the financial and criminal sides of the drug war were being treated as one battlefield. Our message is clear. We are anonymous. We do not serve kings. We do not kneel. The war is disclosed, the battlefield exposed. Now it is your turn. Share this video hit, like, speak the truth, demand accountability. Expect us